we went and served as camp parents at one of the camps that he helped support, which is a camp in Moab, Utah, where young adults come in and these really experts challenge them to climb mountains. Now, I'm thinking there's 15 young adults that are coming in, and imagine, I'm thinking if they're going to climb mountains, I mean rock climbing, they must be in good shape, they must be physically fit. So we get there to this cabin, and as they start coming in, 15 of them, every one of them had a nickname. Mine, of course, was Wacky. But as they came in, Dak, who's a 31-year-old special education teacher from South Dakota, wonderful, wonderful person. She's had a double mastectomy. She's got stage 4 breast cancer. She is way out of shape. She's a little bit overweight and extremely soft. And I'm thinking, how is this lady going to climb a mountain? How is she going to climb up a rock? And then I'm looking at 2 or 3 of the ones had climbed rocks before, a couple of the young boys that were in their early 20s, mid-20s, something like that. They had climbed before, and they looked strong. And they were, in the last stages of cancer, and they've been living with it. And so, but most of them looked like, how in the world are they going to climb a rock mountain? And as I watched the next day, as I watched them go out to this rock with expert climbers who had huge hearts, and I watched Dak on a pitch that wasn't like this, but more like this, but you had to use ropes. And it was so hot that her fingertips, from clinging onto the rocks, put blisters on her fingertips, as they did on most of the campers. As I watched her struggle up this mountainside and climb up there, and at the end of the day come down and say, I did 15 feet. I got 15 feet. Tomorrow I'm going to go higher. I never heard one complaint from any of them. Not one. I was humbled. I was absolutely humbled. And as we proceeded through the week, they got tougher and tougher and tougher. On the last day, we climbed up on one of those arches in Moab. You've seen those arches, those big red arches? We walked up onto the top of that, 150 feet off the ground, and rappelled down. Scared the bejeebies out of me. I mean, I don't have a fear of heights, but I have a deep respect for heights. And it was 8 feet wide. I mean, it was as wide as 2 of these things, but I was like, walking like this, and they were scared to death, but to watch their courage and see how they went. The day before, though, was my real test. Because the day before, I'm just belaying, I'm not climbing. I get out and climb a little bit, and just have fun with them, but I did the easy stuff. And, but I was watching them go, and then there was 2 guys, so they came out on the last day, they gave 5 different levels of toughness, and so they kind of put them in there. So they had a couple of the young guys that had climbed before, and they put them on a straight up, 90-foot straight up rock. Very few handholds, a little crack that you could stick your fingertips in, and I was thinking, there's no way those guys are going to get up that. There is no way. So I was going to be over there watching. And I watched them struggle. I watched one go, took him over an hour to get to the top, and he came down just exhausted, pouring in sweat. And I kept thinking to myself, there is no way I would ever do that. There is no way. And how they had the courage and the strength to do that, just absolutely amazing. And so, but the guy, the ones that were leading, they kept saying, you're going to do this before we go, Wacky. You're going to do this. And I'm thinking, there's no way. So I kept stalling, hoping time would run out. And sure enough, it was getting late, and I knew I would miss it. But then the 15 of them got around me, these 15 campers, and they said, Wacky, you can do this. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, inside of me, I had every bit of self-talk saying, there is no way on this earth that I can do this. But how are you going to say no? How do you say no? So I strapped on the gear, and just getting the first 10 feet, nobody could get the first 10 feet except these other 2 guys. Several people had tried. And I tried about 7, 8 times just to get up 10 feet. And then something happened. I took a deep breath, and I said, go to gratitude. Get into gratitude. See what you can see. See what you can do. See how you can make it. I had great coaches behind me telling me, put your foot here, grab hold of this. I said, just go there. And something snapped. And so I learned that you can change a mindset in a second. In an absolute second. So here I am. I don't know if you can see me up there. I'm the guy that's wearing the red shirt. And I'm at about 60 feet above the ground right there. And for me, you can see my left foot is on a little rock. That's the only rock that was sticking out. So that was a big achievement to get up to that particular rock. But I made it, and it took every single, not only physical strength, but every single mental strength that I had. But I just kept staying focused on being gratitude, talking about how I was grateful to be there, grateful to be there. And I'd make the next week. There was one part where you had to stick your hand in the crack and make a fist. That was the only way you could hold yourself up, and then push off the other side and grab it with the other hand, and then kind of crawl from there. But I learned that those young people fighting cancer have the courage that somewhere deep down inside of each of us is this human spirit. And I watched it come up. It's not only in those that are going through this to it themselves. It wasn't only in our son, but I watched it come up in my wife, the mother of this young boy. I watched that human spirit come up and be something that people can't even imagine. Can't even imagine what goes on inside these minds, but where that human spirit comes from. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing.